Hello to you all, welcome to the full introduction and explanatory video of my latest strategy designed for stocks. It's called Calculus Stocks, and as a main core logic, I would say, is the same logic that we are using for Calculus 4 hours. And I have noticed that with that type of candle calculation, we can find a very nice approach towards the 15 minutes and 30 minutes time frame for the stock market. I tested so far with stocks from US, Europe, India, and Hong Kong and Dubai, and it tends to work greatly with most of the trending ones. Like with calculus as well, like with all my calculus strategies, better said, this is a trend trading strategy designed to take the movement both for long and short, and is going to have some issues with the side market area. However, I have implemented a small series of, I would say, helpers in order to give us a much more a nice boost, and help us, in these periods of the side market. And so far from my testing, I noticed that more or less using the same parameters with very small adjustments, and they kind of are needed to be made because of the volatility of the stock itself. And not all the stocks is moving the same way. And yeah, for now, I believe it can be like a very good first version, to publish out, start testing, and then later on slowly start improving on it. Having said that, let's go a little bit into the menu, and we can see we have the types of entry, the long and the short. For candle selection, for now I only allowed the Heikin Ashi or the normal one, and I found out that kind of with all the stocks and the indexes and ATFs that I tested so far, the Heikin Ashi tends towards the best. We have the swing mode. In general, if you want to allow multiple entries from the same direction once, for example, a stop loss or a take profit has been hit, but I like it, for now in this way. To keep it, like a swing mode, so we have short and long and short and so on, the type of order of the entries. Then we have the highest high, lowest low risk management. So in this case, I'm going to take a look for example, for long at the latest 300 candles, and I'm going to take the lowest value, and the highest 100 candles, and I will take, the highest value. And with those, I'm going to plot the lines, and they are going to serve us as a dynamic stop loss or dynamic profit, for this part from here. And then we have, for example, the sideways rate of change. In this case, I'm going to take 3 candles, and during these 3 candles, I'm looking for a movement within the candles of at least 0.5%. Then I would say this is kind of one of the most crucial, because everything from here is kind of like default. I've tested with this type of settings, like for multiple assets and time frame, and they tend to work kind of the same way. Maybe if you want, for the 15 minutes, I noticed that, for example, 6 and 7 are the best values for the length, while, for example, for 30 minutes, 7 and 8 are the best values, for it. However, for now, I'm going to keep it on 7, and I'm going to show some demonstrations with it. Then again, the break-even stop loss, I would say this is one of the biggest factors that we have here that can affect this strategy compared, for example, with the crypto. So for example, here, let's say you have a movement already of 1% in plus for long or for short. Well, as soon as, for example, if you have this barrier, in this case, for example, 0.5%, and we cross it, then the stop loss is going to be our entry point. So if the target price is going to close, the close of the candle or the low of the candle is going to cross with our initial entry point, then we are going to exit as soon as we are going to get that that candle exit, so that candle close. So in this case, for example, we would reduce a lot our losses in case we are going to have reversals. Then as well, we have the possibility to calculate if you would exit a strategy before an earning, and you can see like for the ATF we don't have, but for the stocks itself, I believe they are like kind of each 6 months or 1 year, how much it is, I'm not so sure right now, but we can calculate this. And for example, if you would exit a trade and wait for the earning itself to happen, and then, for example, you can re-enter the trade, the bot automatically is going to do that. Then again, like I said previously, the dynamic lowest low is the highest high management. We have it here. This is going to be related with this part. And then this part, the dynamic support and resistance. So in this case, I'm making this support and resistance the same way for the crypto. For this, I'm taking the RSI indicator, and with RSI indicator, I'm taking a look, for example, at the overbought and oversold levels, and I'm counting internally, you know, how many times within that channel, like for example, within the 30 points or within the 70 points, you know, the price have stayed, and you know, it's going to act like a dynamic support and resistance as well. However, from my testing, I have noticed that these values in general, they tend to be much smaller, you know, than the values that we have for the you know, for the highest high, lowest low. And also, you know, from my calculation, I have noticed that it's best to let the long trade go by itself and close based on a reservoir or a reversal, or based in case we are going to have a break even, while the short, you know, is nice to have kind of at least this one, short dynamic, or the support and resistance one as well. However, it depends on the asset, but in general, you know, kind of with these default settings, like what I have seen, that it tend towards the best with kind of all the with most of the stock, not with all the stocks. So having said that, let's take a look into it. So here, for example, we have the SPI, which is the ETF of the SPX index, and we can see in this case we beat it by almost 2 times. We have both long and short, and then at the same time, for example, if I will go with 15 minutes, you can see that with 15 minutes we maintain more or less the results, actually even better results, and in this case we beat it as well by 2 times, the buy and hold for this one. So you can see that it's fractal, you know, the results are equivalent based on the time frames. Having said that, let's take a look, for example, at so let's go with ETF first. So for the ETF, I'm going to go in the ARCA. Let's take, for example, the IWM, the ETFs for the Russell. For example, 15 minutes, not the best, but 30 minutes, I believe they used to work better, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, as you can see, for example, in this case, because this one has a much bigger volatility than the SPX itself, we can use, you know, bigger values for the break even. So in this case, we would want to take the break even after 1.5%, you know, of being in plus. So in this case, you can see as well, we are going to beat it by 25%, you know, the index, for example, for the 30 minute, and for 15 minute, looks like we have to look for another set of settings. I'm going to leave it for now. Let's take a look at UVXI. For example, UVXI, we go back, you know, in this one, because this one as well has lower movement, you know, on the for the break loss, stop loss. So in this case, we want more on the part of the short side, and we can see in this case we would have a 750% compared to minus 95. So yeah, this one works. This one works great, both with 50 minutes and 30 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, with 30 minutes even better. So yeah, I don't know, I'm going to take, for example, let's take QQQ as well, but we can take it from the Nasdaq itself, and we can see in case of QQQ, let's go with 15 minutes first. So with 15 minutes, once again, we are going to take a look into the break even. This is kind of the biggest setting that we can make from it. Maybe we can keep it on 0, for example, in this case, and the break even can be on 0.5, or yeah. So it looks like we can keep it like this way, short dynamic. Yeah, we can apply the short dynamic exit as well. So we can see in this case as well, we would have a 120%, and with the 80%, we beat the QQQ index as well. So for this scenario, for the 15 minutes, the 30 minutes, I believe, you know, we would have to use a different type of settings. So maybe we'll have to go with 8, no, 7, or 6. So in this case, for example, with 6, you can see we have the same result like with 15 minutes. So it's much better, you know, to stay with the 15 minutes here. Let's take a look at some of the stock itself. Let's take, for example, let's take Tesla itself, and we can see in Tesla initially we are going to be beaten by but no, we have to put 7. Or yeah, so in this case, for example, let's take a look at the break-even level, because like I said, this is very important. So maybe a little bit higher, so 1.5, 0.5, 1. So we can keep it like this. This one can go away. I don't remember. Yeah. So and 6. So you can see, for example, in this case, with the 15 minutes, we are close to the buy and hold that we would have normally from the Tesla itself. But I believe if you are going to look a little bit more into the settings, maybe you can find something even better. But if there was some series of options for this one, which would make the 30 minutes, I believe, beat it by a bigger margin. So yeah, it would be something like this, and 0.5, yeah. So for example, in 30 minutes, the product works much better than with the 15 minutes, and we can see that with the 30 minutes, we would beat the buy and hold by 4 times, you know. So more or less, for example, in this case, the 30 minutes works much better with Tesla. But yeah, it's up to you to make the diversification. Let's take a look, for example, Amazon itself as well. So we can see that initially we are close to the buy and hold, having the same settings like with Tesla. However, we have to reduce a little bit the break-even level, so we'll have to go to 1 or maybe 0.5. And then at the same time, we don't want for the short, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we can keep it like it was with the 1.5. And then, for example, maybe we want a short dynamic exit as well. No, we don't. So let's go with 7. So we can see, for example, the basic settings of 7 are performing much better in this case. So yeah, so kind of like this. So we can see we are close to the buy and hold that we have from the for these 30 minutes as well. Let's go with 15 minutes. And in the case of the 15 minutes, I believe we can go with a smaller value. No, we don't. 1, 0.5. So we can see 0.5, for example, is and 0.5, or maybe even 1. Yeah, both of them, you know, kind of work, and maybe I want a shorter this one exit. So you can see that in this case we are going to beat it by 5 times the buy and hold with the 15 minutes. So it would perform much better, you know, on this time frame. However, as you can see, you know, the logic itself I'm not modifying at all. So in general, if I do, I make very small modification, but I like to stay, you know, around the 7, the length. The multiplier band, I'm not touching it at all. The sideways, I'm not touching it at all. But what I'm touching, like I said, is the break-even points, because we have a bigger volatility, you know, on the candle, so it kind of has to be done. However, for the later updates, I'm going to take a look into something to make more automated, like for example, taking, I don't know, an ATR or something like that to take the volume candle value. Okay, sure, let's take another one. Let's take, for example, Nvidia. Let's go with the 30 minutes first. I know that Nvidia in general requires a length of 8. This with 8, you know, to work much better. And then, for example, as well, the break-even points, you know, it has much bigger volatility, I believe, than the others. So we will be required to have, you know, much bigger values here. So we can see, for example, in this case, we'll be close to the points that we have for the buy and hold of the 2000, the profit. And if I'm going to remove this part of, no, this part is helping. So yeah, these parts are here. Maybe you want a little bit more. No, and a little bit more here, so no. Yeah, so for example, look, for example, in the short case, we wouldn't want to have any break even. We just want to leave it like that way. And for example, in case of the long, we can stay with 1.5% movement and make the break even happen. And we can see that in this case, we would beat it by almost 2 times with this type of settings. So yeah, I believe 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, they don't tend to work so great. Yeah, the 15 minutes, you know, are not the best for these stocks. However, my recommendation is that if you look into, you know, if you would have much bigger probability, you know, if you'd have a set of settings that works nice with both 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But yeah, some of them is not going to be the case. Having said that, for example, from this one, like I said, let's take I look like as well into the index of GBP, and if I'm not mistaken, it tends to work this one. So so you can see, for example, in the index, without any modification of the GBP of the UK, we destroy it, you know, both with 15 minutes and 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, both of them. Maybe you can make a small adjustments, you know, into the rate of change one more time, and go, for example, like with 0. You can stay with 0, or you can go a little bit higher. But yeah, doesn't matter how you put it, it tends to work very nice with this part. What else can we watch? For example, Indian market, let's take a look at the Indian market, and we have it here as well. So for the Indian market, I'm looking at the national stocks of Exchange of India. No, it was not this one, the B. I'm looking at the first one. It was this one that I looked into. I don't remember which one I started to look yesterday. It's the national stock, so it's this one, yeah. it was initially the banks, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't see them. But look, for example, Tata Motors itself. So we can take Tata Motors. We can see that initially not the best, but we beat the buy and hold with 30 minutes. If I look into 15 minutes, it's a much better results. However, you know, you would have to make some optimization into this part. But yeah. So, for example, you know, in this case, we beat the buy and hold by a huge margin. It was the, if I'm not mistaken, the Nifty. I want Nifty because the Nifty banks, but where they were, it's not NSA. It's on the other one. Then it's on no. So I will just put all, and I will just write Nifty. So yeah, for example, the index itself of Nifty 50 of India, because I believe it's better than just like with SP. Instead of just looking at the individual stocks, we can look at the index itself, and we can see, for example, with 15 minutes. So yeah, in this case, for example, looks like one is kind of the sweet spot for this part, and yeah, we can stay something like this, and we can see we double it. In this case, the index itself for the 15 minutes. Let's take a look at the 30 minutes as well. And we can see that the 30 minutes, we still beat it, you know, but not like the same amount like the previous time, but we still beat it by 50% almost. But probably with a little bit of change in the length, like for example, we go for 6 now, you can see that we are going to beat it by almost double. So you can see very small changes and modifications, you know, but it's kind of, I'm telling you, in the later, I will try to make all this process automatic by taking into account the 8-year value and the movement that we have, percentage movement, and with that, you know, to calculate all of these parts immediately. But yeah, you can see we beat the index by a huge margin, you know, of the Nifty. And what else do we have? Let's take a look, for example, at Bank Nifty as well. If I'm not mistaken, it works amazingly with it as well. We can see, just like the index itself of the Nifty, you know, we beat it by 2 times, and for example, with 15 minutes, it's the same stuff without any modifications. So those are very strong candidates, you know. I don't know. I'm going to take a look at what we have for stocks. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can take a look into the Apple itself. I don't know if you watch it. So for example, this it would be Apple. You can see that more or less we are close to the buy and hold values that we have for it. If we will go with 7, not the best, but yeah, looks like 6 is the part. Let's take a little bit of the break even. No, it's not helping, and on the short part it's not helping either. So yeah, it's working, but it looks like, you know, the buy and hold is performing a bit better, you know, like 15% better than the trading itself. But then again, you also have the possibility to go long only. So we can see that in this case, for example, if I would go long only, the situation it would change. So yeah, this is another thing which can be taken into account. So yeah, let's go back to 30 minutes. So like I said, that's more or less what we have for now. You can see that I changed and tested different type of markets. As long as they are trading one direction or another, you know, we are supposed to have great results with it. So for example, we have 7. Like I said, in general, we are looking at 6, 7, maximum 8, the lengths for the stocks. We want the break even to be around these points, you know, 0.5, 1.5, depends as well, depends on the volatility of the spots. But in general, you can take the index, and once you have the index, you can kind of multiply that by 2 or by 1.5, and you are going to get the values for the break even. But yeah, that's what we have. I'm going to start releasing now and give updates and give access to each and any one of you, the premium clients. In case you are interested in acquiring this strategy, you can go in a trader live, and you would have to be in either a member of the Maximus or of the stock, because this one is going to be included in the stock part as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any question, you can find me, you know, on the same website from here, on the traderlive.com. You can find my Telegram, my YouTube, my Twitter, and my Discord, and you can message me in any one of those. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.